Chicago, the ice is out there, right? First of all, Rob, if you don't mind going out there and showing the clip of Pritzker talking about on Twitter, if you can go on Twitter, Pritzker tweets out something about, just go to my Twitter account,
I
Rob,
love that you
you
said something last night.
If you just go to my Twitter account, and that's Pritzker right there, Rob. If you can zoom in on, please, there you go. So he says, this evening, President Trump is ordering 400 members of the Texas National Guard for deployments to Illinois, Oregon, and other locations within the United States. No officials from the federal government call me directly to discuss or coordinate. So your people are begging for leadership, and you're not providing it. If you were able to do the job, the president wouldn't need to step in. What am I going to do calling you at this point? Well, what are we going to do right now calling you? You're like, no, we have it under control. This is purely a publicity stunt on your end. Okay, purely a publicity stunt on your end. Now, let me kind of go through some of this stuff. So White House authorizes deployment of National Guard to Illinois. Rob, I think you have a clip on this, if you don't mind pulling it up. It's from the one on page 6. So President Trump and the White House is like, look, guys, we're done. We're not waiting. Calls the shot. Here's Pritzker, not happy about it with an ugly tie on. But go ahead and play this clip, Rob, if you can. Go ahead.
The secretary doesn't know what she's talking about. She frankly says that people are clapping. They're not. They're booing her on the street, and they're booing ICE and CBP. They're marching, the CBP marching on a beautiful Sunday in Michigan Avenue in downtown Chicago. They're raiding neighborhoods where instead of going after the bad guys, they're just picking up people who are brown and black and then checking their credentials. Are you a U.S. citizen? I don't know about you, but I don't carry around papers that say I'm a U.S. citizen. So you can imagine people are getting detained. They're getting arrested, U.S. citizens. And they did this, of course, when they raided a building in the middle of the night in South Shore. 130 people that were emptied out of this building. They were going after a few gang members, and instead they broke windows, they broke down doors, they ransacked the place, and there were people that were held, elderly people and children zip-tied. Elderly people held for 3 hours at a time. Really? They are the ones that are making it a war zone. They need to get out of Chicago. If they're not going to focus on the worst of the worst, which is what the president said they were going to do, they need to get the heck out.
Okay, so Chicago. White House deploys National Guard. Federal Trump is sending 300 National Guard troops to Illinois. The latest example of federal government sending guardsmen to blue cities amidst ongoing violent riots and lawlessness that local leaders like Pritzker have refused to step in to quell. President Trump has authorized the 300 folks to go out there. White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson said in a statement, Pritzker on Saturday said he was informed of President Trump's administration plans to send the 300 people. So, Tom, what do you think is going on over here?
So I'll tell you what's going on. The Dems need their next George Floyd. They need blood, and they want blood. They want somebody on their back, bleeding, shot by a federal officer or shot by the National Guard. That's what they want. They do not care about the people. If they cared about the people, they would be looking at the impact of the crime. And he said, these people weren't cheering, they were booing. How many clips do we need on X and elsewhere of people saying, I'm glad you're here. I live over there. Where are you? Can't you help this school over here? How many of these? These are not paid actors. There are problems. But guess what? You can't run for higher office and you can't run for president if you're running on a platform that says that you were unable to improve Illinois and Chicago. So you couldn't help there. Now you want a bigger job? Really? Your political LinkedIn looks pretty terrible here. You didn't do a very good job at your prior assignment. That's what's going on. And Trump is not going to go in here just to do it. He's doing it because it's necessary and because leadership stands up and stands in the gap for the innocent when it's necessary. And this is being politicized by JB Pritzker and others so they could use the A word, authoritarianism. Oh, it's fascist authoritarianism, sending in the military because that's their narrative. But the truth, as you take a look at these things, is they're going to find all the images, they're going to portray it this way or that way, and then in Chicago, when angry mobs show up, people that don't want to be deported and people that support them suddenly show up around them. You tell the police, speaking of stand-down orders, you issue a stand-down order in Chicago to leave these people hanging out. They want blood. They want that crowd to form around those officers. They want those officers to kill somebody because now they've got their George Floyd. And then as the old phrase go, now you have the bloody albatross to wave and to claim victimhood. That's what's going on.
Yeah, and by the way, while this is happening, Trump pauses the $2.1 billion Chicago infrastructure project over race-based contracting concerns. To make that sure that the funding is not flowing via race-based contracting, the director of the Office Management and the Budget, the OMB, announced this Friday $2.1 billion Chicago infrastructure project. Specifically, the Red Line extension and the Red and Purple modernization project have been put on hold to ensure funding is not flowing via race-based contracting. I mean, while this is taking place, so they're going through that. Is that it, Rob?
Yes.
Go ahead and play the clip.
The people of Chicago have been begging for these improvements.
Of
This
course.
is like the California train to nowhere. The money comes in, it gets corruptively skimmed, and the people don't get the red line and purple line so they can go back and forth to work.
Watch this here. Go ahead.
Right now, the red line only goes as far as 95th Street, but the extension project would take it further south and east all the way to 130th Street. But for the moment, all that is on hold, with the Trump administration putting a freeze on $2.1 billion in federal grants that Congress approved for the project.
We're going to use every tool that's available to me to ensure that those dollars are restored to the people of this city.
The U.S. Department of Transportation said it is in the process of reviewing the funding for the project, quote, to ensure no additional federal dollars go towards discriminatory, illegal, and wasteful contract.
Vinny, your thoughts on this story?
They couldn't pay for it themselves. This is U.S. taxpayers paying for their trains.
I hope people on that side are listening. Please don't just listen to them and watch mainstream media, which is at an all-time low of trust. I hope they're watching podcasts like this. And I'm not trying to promote our show. Just listen to another side. They don't care. Oh, my mic just went. I just lost.
We just lost Vinny.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're back.
They don't care about you at all. Okay, zero. That's all BS propaganda talking points. And then the attitude towards ICE, Pat. Gavin Newsom, all that rhetoric, that dog whistling that they do. Same with JB Pritzker on Saturday. To go back to the ICE, officers, DHS officers, were ambushed in what looks like to be a coordinated attack. 10 cars boxed them in. Maramar Martinez, okay, this one girl, Tom, she was armed with a semi-automatic weapon. She didn't fire, but she used her vehicle to ram the DHS vehicles. They trapped them in, and they fired at her, hit her, didn't kill her. She took off and was found a mile away at a repair shop before taken to the hospital. And then another suspect, Anthony Ian Santos, was arrested for assaulting and impeding officers. Okay, Rob, can you show that one video of, like, this is what they're dealing with. This is what these guys are dealing with. Keep going, Rob. I think I slacked them too. Oh yeah, so look, that white car is an ICE vehicle. Look what's happening. Can you imagine, Pat? You're trying to do your job.
ICE vehicle?
The white car is an ICE vehicle. You can see how the things are flashing. This person, this individual, this isn't the girl. This is just another instance. Look at it, ramming and driving and pushing the car. And then look at him. The guy's trying to look, and then still.
Who is the Escalade? Who is the black Suburban?
It's just a Chicago person that's just trying to get involved and try to attack ICE agents and stop them. Yeah.
There were allegations that it was a stolen vehicle being used as a ram.
Look at this.
I haven't found anything from the police department that confirmed that, Pat.
What?
But it certainly looks like a bunch of guys stole the car and used it as a ramming tool.
I know I said this last week. Attacks on ICE agents are up 800%. Okay, where's it? It's not coming organically. And Pat, we talked about the sources and the people that are funding and pushing this stuff. I really hope we get to the root of the cause of causing the division and this insanity and this chaos in the country. And then Pritzker was on Tapper. He said it was propaganda. Rob, do you have that clip as well? Yep. He said it's really hard to know the facts. You just saw what you saw, Pat. Listen to this guy.
DHS says that CBP officers shot and wounded a woman in Chicago yesterday after, they say, she allegedly rammed a law enforcement vehicle, and agents were boxed in by multiple cars. The spokesperson for DHS, Tricia McLaughlin, accused Chicago police of leaving the scene and refusing to assist agents in securing the area What do you know about this incident? Were federal agents boxed in and assaulted?
Well, we don't have a lot of facts. What happens in these sorts of incidents is typically ICE puts out a press release before anybody else can speak with the press, and then it gets reported on social media and elsewhere. Remember, these are the same folks who killed a person, unarmed person, just a couple of weeks ago in Franklin Park. At first, they said that the officer had been threatened with his life. The reality of it and the truth of it has now come out, and that wasn't the case. They killed somebody. So here it's really hard to know exactly what the facts are, and they won't let us access the facts. They are just putting out their propaganda. And then we've got to later
like you
determine
just did
what
talking about
actually happened.
So propaganda in Dallas, they're not going
it's your
on
propaganda.
roofs.
My propaganda is okay.
Yeah, and they're not sniping and shooting at ICE agents. It's like this whole attitude of all these leaders that you're talking about, these horrible freaking leaders. Pat, there was a New York Post reported that the chief of patrol, John Hine, gave an order to stand down and not help ICE agents. Okay, do you understand how diabolical that is? Your brother in arms, they need your help. And you're saying, oh, guys, you're responding? Do not respond to that. Okay, it's not going to go well for these guys. Okay, they are doing their jobs. All right? And it's unbelievable, Pat. Like Chicago, guess how many shootings happened this weekend in Chicago? There's probably 3 or 4 mass shootings. He doesn't care. He doesn't give a damn. He doesn't care, but he can't just say, hey, Trump, thank you. Hey, thanks. Thanks for getting people that aren't supposed to be in the country illegally that I basically told them, hey, come to our city because we're sanctuaries.
So here's the question.
Yeah.
Here's the question. And then, Adam, I'm going to come to you. So the question is the following. What is Pritzker and all these leftist politicians going to do when the streets of Chicago shuts down crime within 2 weeks and it's cleaned up? Now what are you going to say?
He's screwed.
What are you going to say? Actually think about the optics. He, the governor, is going to hope for crime to increase when National Guard comes in. To say, imagine what psychological issues you have to say, kill somebody, crime. I'm speculating. I'm saying my opinion is they're going to be rooting for crime to increase. They know, what did the mayor of D.C. say? Hey, they kind of cleaned it up within 12 days. All right. If they do that in Chicago, what do you think the African-American families who voted for Kamala are all of a sudden going to be saying?
Hey, wait a minute.
It's kind of working, man. Maybe this guy knows what he's doing. Adam.
Yeah, well, this is politics. There's no chance that someone like JB Pritzker is going to be like, you know what, Trump?
That's right.
We really need your help here, buddy. Like, our city is out of control. And by the way, we've had a Democratic established government here for about 100 years, but we really need your help.
And my DoorDash was hijacked 3 times this week.
There's no chance
By the way,
that they're going to say something like that.
24 wounded in Chicago just this weekend.
And unfortunately, this is why they call it Chirac, because it's like, that's it? Only 5 people this weekend? Congratulations, your numbers are actually down in Chicago. But let's not pretend everything is just finey dandy here in Chicago. We're desensitized to just people getting killed, people getting shot every weekend. Chicago, D.C., no big deal. By the way, it also happens in Memphis and it happens in certain other cities, Little Rock, what have you, but even in Fort Lauderdale. But there's no secret that the worst of the worst of the worst is going on in these Democratic sanctuary strongholds. And Chicago is the tip of the spear. And now, JB Pritzker, of all the nonsense that he rattled off, there was one thing he did say that was accurate when he said, let's focus on the worst of the worst. I agree. I don't want to see ICE coming in and just jacking somebody's nanny or the gardener. There needs to be a pathway to citizenship for a lot of these people. Because how are we going to deport 10 million people? But if we focus on the worst of the worst of the worst, then that's where I think we'll have some success right there. Now, as far as, Tom, you made a comment about they need their George Floyd. A lot of it is accurate. Exactly.
And by the way, if you'd volunteer to die for us, we're going to put you on T-shirts. We're going to paint you on murals on the side of buildings. Your family will have your memory all over the place. If you'll just be our martyr. It's sad,
it's
but
actually
it's that
so
dark.
true, because if you actually take a compare and contrast to what you would call the left's victim mentality and the right's actual victim in Charlie Kirk versus George Floyd, it's non-comparison. It's actually laughable. George Floyd, peace be upon him, as they say, habitual line stepper, in and out of jail, problematic, druggie, what have you, beat his girlfriend, but he's the martyr of the left. Charlie Kirk, who I would literally say is one of the greatest humans I've ever met, to see how his legacy is being trounced on by certain people is pathetic to me. One of the greatest people ever, and he's being sort of labeled this racist, disgusting person. Charlie was a great person, and George Floyd was a shitty person, and it just goes to show whose role models and martyrs each side looks up to.
Yesterday, guys were posting pictures of being at football games and baseball games. One baseball game I wasn't too happy about, but they were watching it at a bunch of these baseball games. And you know what hat they were wearing and what shirt they were wearing? They were wearing the allegedly shirt. Ooh. This is by far the biggest insurance policy for you folks. Go pick up an allegedly hat for $15, a sweater, a shirt, a coffee mug. Go get it. This is like limited supply left because these things are running out. Originally, when we had a lot of different sizes, but if they have your size, go ahead and place the order with these things. They're one of the coolest conversation starter shirts you can wear out there. And people ask you, why are you wearing an allegedly shirt? Well, listen, it's my insurance policy to make sure I'm protected. Now all you have to say is allegedly to make sure you're protected from people coming after you. Anyways, allegedly gear is one that people like to wear no matter where they go. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.